Can you imagine a person who seems to collect dead husbands? Not one, not two, but more. Each marriage ending the same way. Wealth in her hands and a man in the grave. We can't give you her name. What we know is circumstantial. What we've seen is whispered. But the pattern is there. The story is undeniable. And it reads like something out of a Stephen King novel. Only this wasn't fiction. This was real life. She was adopted, a mystery even from the start. Her birth name carried an omen, the first name and middle initial spelling out a single word, maniac. Coincidence? Maybe. Or maybe fate has a cruel sense of humor. As she grew, she sharpened her mind. An avid reader, she devoured Stephen King novels, dark tales of obsession, poison, and death. But for her, these weren't just stories. They were blueprints. Later, she would change her name, rebrand herself, reinvent the mask, the way predators always do. She became a defense attorney, sharp, persuasive, beautiful, and she learned how to study people, how to find their weaknesses, their interests, their desires. Then she learned how to weaponize them. Her targets were older men, prominent men with influence, wealth, and status, men who thought they were choosing her, but really she was choosing them. She married lawyers, attorneys with reputations. She charmed one from a powerhouse firm, another from the old guard of local prominence. And when she was done with them, she moved on to a professional athlete, yes, even a player from the Chicago Bulls. And if that wasn't enough, she even wrapped herself around one of the biggest names in media, a man whose empire touched nearly every screen in America. A man who gave her gifts, jewelry, real estate at a Georgia golf course where PGA tournaments still play. To him, she was a lover. To herself, she was building an empire, one dead husband at a time. Can you imagine that? Someone sitting across from you, smiling, sipping wine, and planning how to make your next breath your last. Her methods weren't flashy. She didn't need guns or knives. She preferred quieter instruments, allergic reactions, slow poisonings, unexplained illnesses that dragged on just long enough to seem natural. Historically, this is the Black Widow's calling card. Poison. The #1 weapon of women who kill. And it's effective because it leaves fewer marks. Doctors misdiagnose, families grieve, and insurance pays out. Over time, she gathered more than jewelry, more than houses. She gathered Social Security benefits, each dead husband leaving behind more than memories, each death becoming another step toward financial security. It seems impossible. How could someone collect from multiple men? But in the web of bureaucracy, in the shadows of the system, money flows to those who know how to bend the rules. And she knew. She always knew. Would you recognize her if she sat beside you today? Would you see the charm for what it was, a mask hiding venom? Or would you smile back, unaware you'd already been chosen? People like this are called Black Widows. It's an old name for a new crime, women who use seduction to lure, to marry, to kill. They don't rob banks. They rob hearts, homes, and futures. Their stories read like thrillers. Belle Gunness, the Hell's Belle of Indiana, who lured dozens of men to her farm with promises of love before feeding their bodies to the pigs. Betty Newmar, the so-called Black Widow Granny, who buried 5 husbands under suspicious circumstances. Stacy Castor, who killed her husband with antifreeze and tried to frame her own daughter for it. And now, this woman. Collecting husbands like trophies, leaving behind a trail of graves and a legacy of suspicion. Why would someone do this? Money, of course. Wealth. Status. But it wasn't just greed. It was power, control, the ability to decide when someone else's story ends. To her, marriage wasn't a vow. It was a sentence. And she was the executioner. The men she left behind are remembered in obituaries filled with half-truths. Their families ask questions that may never be answered, and her story, still whispered, still unresolved, becomes a ghost that haunts every room she's ever walked into. Our producer knows of her, has seen her in the flesh, but without hard proof, without a smoking gun, her name remains in the shadows. So we tell you what we can. We tell you the pattern. We tell you the truth that hides in the margins. Because someone like this may still be out there, smiling, waiting, choosing her next name, her next lover, her next victim. What can we learn from this? That seduction can be a weapon sharper than any blade. That greed wears a beautiful face, and that sometimes the person sleeping beside you is a stranger. The Black Widow doesn't strike in anger, she strikes in patience, slow, silent, calculated. And when she leaves, it's not just with wealth, it's with your name, your future, your life. You've been listening to What We Weren't Told. We are a tribe. We don't settle for the surface. We peel back the masks, the lies, the shadows, and we show you what lives underneath. If this story pulled you in, like and subscribe. It motivates us to keep creating and to keep bringing you more of what we weren't told. Next time, we follow another seduction. But this one isn't about death. It's about money. About online sirens who whisper love across screens until their victims are broken, and too ashamed to speak. The Black Widows of the digital age. Join us, because the shadows aren't empty. They're full of stories.